We've come a long way, and we haven't even talked about Miami. It's Miami week. The music at the beginning of the show indicates it is Miami week.
Did you play Pitbull? What did you play?
That
Gloria Stefan?
was yesterday.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay.
Trivia. I think the last 3 years in a row, but as long as we're doing this together, you and I, Conga from Gloria Stefan will always kick us off Mondays on the podcast for Miami week.
And then Vanilla Ice is Wednesday usually, because obviously we all know he's from A1A.
A1A.
We'll see what happens on Wednesday.
Okay, all right.
It's going to be a long show, I feel like, today, everybody. So we're not going to do a lot of preamble here. We got the cameras on. It's Miami week. This is like the best question from the mailbag, Corey, that deals with Miami. So, ta-da, let's generate discussion. It's sparked by Cummins. Corey, please, a soundtrack, if you don't mind.
Yee. And then hit the button.
It is generating discussion. It's sparked by Cummins. Give them a follow over on the Instagram page. It's CumminsLifestyle. It's all one word. There's so many good things to do out there in this great world of ours, but you want portable power when you're out of pocket. Cummins does it best. Quiet, reliable. It's where you got to be. Owning line of products. The portable generators. Take them anywhere you got to go. Portable power stations, which will be part of our end-of-year giveaway. Marine generators. RV generators. If you need power, Cummins has got you covered. They are a global power leader for over 100 years. All right, Corey, we go to I think a fraternity that's been around for over 100 years. Great lads. One of my best friends was a Delt.
Okay.
We go to FSU, Delt 93. Wake up, Foxtrot Mike. Foxtrot Mike. Looking at Miami, they are more like Alabama than Virginia, especially at the quarterback position. I feel this bodes well for the Noles. In your opinion, how are the Canes different from Alabama? What position groups are the Canes better at than Alabama? Go Noles. I think the first thing you look at is like these offensive lines, right? These like highly touted offensive lines, first round picks. Francis Maui-Noah, right tackle for Miami, left tackle Caden Proctor. They haven't played a lot of Jaden Roberts, who is one of their freaks, first round projections, at least on the Alabama side. But the difference to me, Corey, Miami's shown to have a functional running game. I think right now Alabama's ranked outside the top 100. Now, Could that have been a bad matchup in week one against Florida State and then having to play Georgia? Possibly, probably. But it seems like to me Miami has the better running game. Now, quarterback-wise, I think their quarterback is less likely to be rattled the way that Ty Simpson was in week one because Carson Beck's been in a lot more firefights than Ty Simpson has been. But there's a lot more tape out there of Carson Beck making the bad plays, turning the ball over, whereas Ty Simpson was more or less kind of betrayed by his own nerves and some slippery hands and not turning the ball over as much as Carson Beck could potentially do if Florida State can get home with like less than 6 people, we hope.
Yeah, and I think all those are the right answers. I think Miami has a better defense overall. I definitely think they have the better defensive ends. They have a first-round pick, maybe a top 10 pick with Bain, and the other kid's really good too. I think they have a strong defensive line. But the offensive lines are probably close to equal. I do think Miami will be more committed to the run. But, yeah, I would say the biggest difference, honestly, is the quarterback because while Ty Simpson, he's already one of the leading Heisman candidates now because of the big 24 he put up in Sanford Stadium. But I think he's probably a good quarterback now. I wouldn't say he was a good quarterback on August 30th. I think Florida State rattled him. I also thought he was just rattled by the moment. Carson Beck won't be that. But you can rattle Carson Beck. Like, if you get pressure on him, he will make mistakes. And unlike Ty Simpson, he can't use his legs to avoid it like Ty Simpson or like, to going back to the question, Chandler Morris could. So maybe you can force him into some mistakes, some strip sacks. That would be nice. Maybe a fumble or two. I think that they're pretty evenly matched, Miami and Alabama, honestly. I think maybe, like I said, I think Miami will be a little bit more committed to the running game. But as good as I think Miami's wideouts have proven to be so far, they're not Alabama's. Right. Alabama's got, that kid, Ryan Williams is their second best receiver, apparently. That other kid's exceptional. So as good as Miami is, they're not going to be as good as what you've already seen. So that should give you some comfort there, that you've already seen better wideouts than what Miami has, and Miami has some good ones, especially that freshman. I just think the difference is if you give Carson Beck time, he is going to torch you. I don't know if that was going to be the case with Ty Simpson that much. He made some big plays. He found some guys in the middle of the field, but overall, he never really strung it together. Carson Beck can put up 400 on you if you don't get pressure on him. And so I think that's the biggest difference.
What I do wonder, though, Corey, is that if you do blitz, like, listen, in a perfect world, you just rush 4, you can drop 7, and then it's lights out. But if Florida State has to bring more resources to try to get to Carson Beck, is he the kind of guy that he can see it? And listen, when you bring more guys in, that's obviously there's going to be more one-on-one matchups. He'll be able to, he probably knows where to go with the ball, but everything's moving so fast. It's Doak Campbell Stadium. It's a huge rivalry game. I mean, how key is it for Florida State to be able to get home with 4? Do you think they can blitz 5 or 6 and Carson Beck isn't quite to that level to where he'll be able to instantly feel that pressure, get the ball out quick, and make the right read?
Look, man, I think Beck is a really good quarterback. I think he's going to play in the NFL, but there's a reason he's not in the NFL right now. He is not a finished product. He is not incredible. There were plenty of times where he struggled at Georgia, especially last year, against pressure. And he's played a lot of football, but still sometimes he gets confused. Every quarterback does. You can't just continually blitz 5 or 6. He will pick that apart. He's a bright enough kid. But if you change it up and you dial up different looks from different formations and keep him guessing a lot, and more importantly, keep the offensive line guessing, you can get home. I think that no quarterback is like impermeable to being confused and to being rushed. So as much as he's played a lot of football, he is still not. He's still a work in progress, and I think there is a good chance that you will get home a couple of times. It's when you get home. Like, take, for instance, the Ashland Barker sack the other night against Chandler Morris. You'd like that to be a fumble because they ended up scoring on that drive anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you swallowed him up. The kid did a good job of once he saw he couldn't get away, he just kind of wrapped the ball up. But make that a fumble. Make that a big play and not just a good play. And then see what happens. So, look, Carson Beck is going to make plays. He's going to hit some big throws. He will be probably – would you say he's probably the best quarterback you're going to face just from a pure throwing standpoint? Probably the best pure passer you're going to face. And I think this is the best offensive line you're going to see. So it's going to be a challenge. But they aren't – I don't know if overall you'd say they're a better offense than Alabama. I think they're really even.
Is Virginia in Scott Stadium a better offense than Miami and Doak Campbell Stadium?
Probably. Probably, just because of crowd noise and momentum, and probably. And look, that's not to besmirch Miami. I think Miami has a good offense. I think Virginia has a really good offense too. It's Virginia, so nobody's going to give them credit because of the name. I think that's as tough a challenge as what you're seeing this weekend. The difference, in my opinion, with this game is, I don't foresee you giving up 44 points this week or 46 points, whatever it was, 35 in regulation, maybe. But I also don't see you scoring in the mid-30s or getting close to 40 against Miami's defense. I think this is probably one of, if not the best defense you're going to face. I think it's probably, besides Clemson, maybe the best defensive front you're going to face. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about offensively difference. I mean, for Alabama's loaded, quote unquote, as they were on defense, it mainly seemed like it was their secondary, but they were some of the guys that were caught loafing on the film on the All-22. Yeah. They didn't have Tim Keenan. They don't have great run stuffing interior defensive linemen. They don't have any edge rushers. Alabama, like, they do not. Miami does have that, but I don't know if I mean, listen, I think they're probably better their front four than what Alabama's was. So that's not going to help out Florida State, but like, I don't know if this is a great Ruben Bain game. Like, Louisville's probably a better Ruben Bain game because, Jeff Brom's going to drop Miller Moss back there on 5-step drops and try to get people open 50 yards downfield. I don't know how much that's going to be in Gus's bag, but I think that's the biggest difference too, I think, is that, like, Miami's not going to get punked. I don't think Florida State's going to get punked by Miami, but I don't think what Florida State did to Alabama was incredible. I mean, the way they took their fight from them so early on, put them on their heels, made them play scared and a step slow. I just don't think Miami's going to do that, at least not for the better part of 60 minutes, maybe the first quarter or so. But Alabama was just off their game as soon as that first drive came, to pay dirt for them. So I just think that's going to be a little bit of a different thing too. Just Miami and their relentlessness, at least especially on defense.
Yeah, but again, defenses aren't quite as good on the road as they are at home. And think
First
about
road game for the Canes, by the way.
right, and also it's hard to play with a lot of energy and juice when you're at home, and you've got an actual. And they've had actual crowds these first 3 games. Well, I guess they played 4, which is crazy. They played their first 4 games at home, but Notre Dame for a season opener, that's a big time crowd. That's a big time environment. You then get South Florida, who just knocked off Florida and is ranked, so you get yourself a little more juice for that game, and then you've got Florida. So they've had a lot of energy and a lot of juice for these games. They're going to have to that they got from the crowd. Maybe they're going to have to provide their own on Saturday night. They're going to have to provide their own juice, and they're going to have to rally up when Florida State makes big plays, because Florida State will make some big plays. And I will say this: this is a substantial step up for any offense that Miami has seen. Notre Dame, I think, does have a good offense, but that was their first game with a brand new quarterback.
Yep.
This Florida State team with Gus and Tommy and Deuce, and this the way they can run the ball, Florida's not even close to this.
No.
Florida's, and neither was South Florida. South Florida's a good team, but they're not a good offense. This Florida State offense is one of the best in the country, and Miami has not seen anything like it. Are they prepared for it? We'll find out. They might be able to stop it. They might be able to slow it down. But this is a substantial step up in competition that the Miami defense is going up against. Just like I think, obviously, it's a step up for Florida State on the other side.
Shout out to FSU Delt 93, last winner of September. We'll do the drawing next week because, again, I think it's going to be a pretty long show. Lots more to come. But don't forget to check out our friends over at Cummins. CumminsLifestyle, it's all one word. Give them a follow on Instagram and just, let them know that you're listening to the program, and check out all the cool things you can do either at home with your backup generator at the house or in the RV, and the Onan line of products. CumminsLifestyle is all one word.